Hi, today I'm going to show you how I tie my leaders for salmon fishing down in Pulaski, New York. I'm going to show you how I was taught by my friend Steve. So we're going to get started. So for today's video, I'm going to use this simple knot tying tool. It's very inexpensive, under $10. I'm going to use fluorocarbon tippet size 0x. This is sinking. You can use anything from 8-pound test to 15-pound test, whatever you prefer. I'm using number 4 size hooks. These are Gamakatsu's, and I really like the X Factor hooks. S-Pro power swivels, size 6. They are 80-pound test. And Death Row beads, size 3/8. These are scented and soft. Great product. I've also pre-cut a 2x3 4 feet long, and we'll get to that a little bit later. So we're going to start off with our knot tying tool. We're going to make sure that this little deal is down in that position. We're going to take our size 4 hook. We're going to clamp it down in the groove right there. Tighten it down good. And for today's purposes, I'm going to use some backing so it's a little easier to see, hopefully. And you want to feed that through the eye of the hook, just like that. And then you want to pull it out about, let's just go almost twice the length of that knot tying tool. And you're going to wrap it around this bottom piece, and you're going to hold it in this position just like that. You can see it. And then you're going to start wrapping that line around the shank of that hook. I usually go 8 times. Make sure you don't overlap your wraps. For today's purposes, I'm going to wrap it 5 times. There's 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you want to take your tag end of your line, pull it underneath that hook right there on your knot tying tool. And then you're going to push that up in, and it releases that loop from the bottom. And then you take your line, your main line, and you pull it up, snug that knot up just like that. And then you unclamp your hook, and then you use this hook down here to pull the rest of your line, the tag end, through the bottom of that knot. And then you snug it up, and you just tied a snell knot. And then from there, you can clip your tag end right off as tight as you can to the knot. And that's that end. So now I use my 4-foot 2x3 that I pre-cut, and I use that as a length gauge. Down in the Salmon River, the maximum leader length is 4 feet. So I cut this exactly at 4 feet, and by the time I'm done tying, I'll be just shy of that, and I'd rather stay safe than sorry. So I take my hook, and I hook it down here on one end of the board, and then I follow it all the way down, and I get my 4-foot length. And then from there, I cut it. Then I take my S-Pro power swivel, and I'm going to tie a trident knot on that. So feed your line through once, and then you feed it through a second time. And you want to get yourself, leave about a good 6 to 8 inches. Pull this one loop right here down into your hand. I'm pinching the power swivel in this hand, and then I'm going to take and I'm going to wrap this end, my tag end, around 7 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then at this point, with fluorocarbon or monofilament line, you want to wet the line And then you take your tag end and you stick it back through the loop right there. Pull that back, and then you want to cinch that knot right down to your swivel. And it looks a bit big and bulky, but it doesn't look that way when you're not using backing. Now the reason why I left this extra line is now you're going to take that tag end, you're going to go through the other end of your barrel swivel, and then you're going to tie just a simple knot just like that, and you're going to pull that tight up to the swivel. And then at the end of this, you want to tie one more simple knot. Pull it tight. Clip off the excess. Now what you do is you would tie your main line at the end of this swivel right here. This piece right here I use for putting split shots on. If you're going to get a snag, it's usually going to be your split shots. So your main line will be coming off this way, and if you snag up, chances are you can give it a yank and you'll just lose this little tag end with your split shots, and then you'll be able to retrieve the rest of your line and your hook. At this point, I take my Death Row soft scented bead and I feed it onto the hook, and I like to bring it right up and around, right over the eye of the hook. You have to have bait on your hook. That's part of the regulations there. But I like to get it right over the eye, and then it leaves you room right there to set your hook on the fish. And the last step, I take this and I'll wrap it around my hand, my 2 fingers, the entire leader. Take it off. I like to store them in these little baggies that you get from Walmart. Just like that. I like to pre-tie a couple hundred of these for the season. You're bouncing these off the bottom of the river, so you're going to lose a lot. And this way, when you do lose them, you don't lose your fishing spot. You can just tie one right on real quick. It's easy, and it's the way to go. Thanks for watching.